Okay then guys, we're going to make some hot water crust pastry cases today because I'm going to make a pie. I'm going to make a Scotch pie in a couple of days. So I'm making the cases today and I'm going to let them air dry just so they're a bit more rigid when I come to use them. So for this we need some plain flour, some bread flour, lard, water and some salt. And I've put the salt in the measuring spoon already because I keep forgetting to put it in. Here we go then. Okay, I just did the measuring quickly. 200 grams of plain flour and 50 grams of bread flour. Now this always comes out in a rush, so be careful. We've got 90 ml of water and 90 grams of lard. I'm just going to melt that down. I'm going to put the salt in now before I forget. Okay, that'll do. And straight into the flour. If it's too wet, we'll add more flour. If it's too dry, we'll add more water. Use a fork to start off with. That's better, it's coming together now. Look. Okay, still warm. Yeah, it's always a good sign when it rubs off the side of the bowl. Right, I reckon that's done. That's done with the bowl, so let's get rid of that. Bring it all together now. Let's make it nice and smooth. The plain flour should give it its crispiness, and the bread flour with its extra gluten should help it stay together like this. Well, that's not too bad, you know. Right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to form the dough into these moulds. Never used them before, but they look like the ideal size for a Scotch pie to me, so... Now I can't decide whether to grease them or to line them with paper. So I'm going to hedge my bets and do one or two of each as this is cooling a little bit. So do the paper first. And I know that that's about the right size. Yeah, that'll be alright. Cool, right then. I use this stuff, Decora non-stick spray to grease pans and easily detach sweet and savoury preparations. Okay, that'll do. Let's get all them out of the way. Right, I need to roll this out now. I'm going to do it in two lots, I reckon. Even though the dough isn't sticking to the work surface, it's a good idea to put flour down because of this, look. Now that's it rolled out, so it's that big. How am I going to do this? Let's put that there and that there. And when I pick it up, it's going to shrink a little bit. Because it's shrinking in, the dough can't ease itself back in. So it's not a bad idea to flour the work surface anyway. And now, when I roll it, See it moving? You probably can't see it. There we are, see it springing back? See that? See, you've learnt something again. Well, let's try that then. Okay, then I'm going to go and leave those somewhere to dry. And then we'll tip them out and bake a pie. Yeah, happy with that. Okay then, back in a couple of days. Okay then, on with the Scotch pie filling. So we need some minced steak, rusk, nutmeg, beef gravy. Now I'm using gravy rather than stock, and I've already mixed that up in the little jug there. Some white pepper and some mace. Now I'm using ground nutmeg out of a jar because my own is a bit too coarse, I think. So we can mix it all together. It's as simple as that. Right, I've got 500 grams of mince. It's much more than I need, but I can save this and use it for something else. So I'll just break it up a little bit to start off with. Gonna get my hands in there in a minute, but I just want to get the big lumps, you know. That's it. Right then. Okay then, half a teaspoon of all the spices. Now I'm using mace. Don't see mace used very often. It's an oldie worldy type spice, you know. In fact, I'm going to use just a bit over half. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, it's an oldie worldy spice. You don't see it used an awful lot these days. Right, half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, like I said. Just gives it a little bit of a, well, it's almost a woody type smell, isn't it? And we want a good, maybe, yeah, just over a half teaspoon again of white pepper. Just going to mix these in a little bit before we carry on. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Right then, rusk. Now this is the rusk I made the other day. Pinhead Rusk, it's quite fine. We don't want anything too chunky in this. So, I don't know, what are they? About 1 to 2 millimeters. Now, this is about 125 grams. I know it is because I weighed it. You want the ratio 4 to 1. So 500 grams of mince, 125 grams of rusk. And what the rusk does, it helps soak up the oils and fats from the meat to save them being all greasy in the pie, if you know what I mean. Right, this is going quite well actually. Right, and I'm just in with the gravy. Now I'm using gravy rather than stock because it's got a few thickeners in it, and that's going to help us. I'm going to put some meat in there. Got a few little bits stuck in the bottom. Good tip for you, look. There we are. Oh, my secrets are coming out. Oh, that smells good. Right, time to get my hands in, I reckon. A lot of people see rusk as a manufacturer's way to dilute the meat, but it's not really. I mean, an unscrupulous manufacturer, pie maker could do that, but it's there for a reason. And like I said, the reason is to give it a little bit of body and to soak up some of the juices. Otherwise, you'd have a pie that's leaking fats and greases everywhere. Well, that's pretty well mixed up now. A little bit more. Right, and what you can do now, that's better, that's how we want it. Get rid of the mincy look, you know what I mean? There we are. More like, I don't know if they call it ground beef. Yeah. That's better. Right, and we're going to leave this now. Now, you could leave this for an hour or 2 hours, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this overnight, because then the flavours will really, that smells good already, the flavours will really build up in there. So I've got to find my cling film. Well, I'm just going to cover that with cling film now and leave it in the fridge overnight, like I said. Do you remember the old days? Cling film used to suddenly go woof, stick to it. Doesn't seem to do it anymore. Maybe because it's PVC free now or something. I don't know. That'll do, just stop it drying out a little bit. Okay then guys, back tomorrow when we will be assembling the pie. Well, okay then, that's been just over a day since I made the Scotch pie filling, and that's been in the fridge for a day. The pastry cases, the pie cases, they've been left out for just over a day, and they're quite firm. They've not been in any heat, they've just been air drying, and I reckon that's going to make it a bit easier to fill. I've just knocked up a little bit of short crust pastry for the lids. But first, I've got far too much filling for those pies, look. What I'm going to do, then I'm going to roll this out, I don't know. Let's have half of it, let's squash it out a bit. What I thought of doing is cutting it basically the right size with a cutter to fit in there. Save pushing it down. Squash this down a bit. I'm going to cut it out with a cutter. Yeah, that'll do, I reckon. Yeah, a bit thinner maybe. I got so much of this, haven't I? And then I can sort of, ooh, sort of drop it in. Yeah, that's it. There we are. That's not far off the right size either. And then I can just push it down a little bit. That'll do, because it's quite cold and stiff, see. I didn't want to be... I reckon that'll do, you know. Yeah. Let's just try filling it normally, eh? Just to see if there's any... Yeah. I was fussing over nothing, because they're quite solid, these cases. I say they're quite solid, but you know what's going to happen, don't you, if I say that? I'll end up pushing it to one side. Right, that'll do, I reckon. Let's quickly roll this out. Should have enough for two there. That'll do, right. And I can use the bigger one for this. Yes. I'll do. There we are. I reckon they don't look too bad, you know. Right. Do I make a hole in the... Yes, make a hole in it. Just in case. Knowing my luck, you know, if I didn't, it would blow up or something. And what I'm going to do, quick egg wash on the top. I don't think you need to bother with egg wash on the side because it's a very greasy pastry, isn't it? Not to go mad with it, just a bit of colour. I'll tell you what. Okay, then what I'll do then, let's put a little, I'm going to put two little lines on that, just to, and what I'll do with that one, I'm going to brush this one right round, see if it makes a difference. It's a learning curve for me as well, see. I'll do, yeah. And this one I'll just do the top. Okay then, wipe my hands. I'm going to leave them on this tray and they're going to go in a 200-degree oven for about 40 minutes. So we'll bring you back in a bit. Just before I put them in the oven, I've knocked up some meatballs as well. Oh, right, just out the oven. Hey, look all right. I don't think there's any difference with the egg wash, a little bit shinier perhaps. Yeah, no point to an egg wash. Tell you what, lids are a little bit loose, but it doesn't matter. Let's do that one. Let's get a plate. Right then, let's have a taste of one of these, I reckon. I tell you what, I don't need a plate, do I? I mean, normally you'd pick it up and put it in your mouth, but it's a bit warm still. So, ooh, crisp crust. Oh, look at that. Smells good as well. Smells like a Scotch pie. Oh, tell you what, guys. Quick clean up there a minute. I'll tell you what, that is nice. I know I always say this, but it is. Right, yeah, I'm going to carry on with that because that is good. Let's just do a bit of pastry. It's quite peppery. Yeah, pastry's good. Yeah, crispy. Well, guess what I'm having for tea then? Some nice thick gravy with that, be brilliant. And I think, I don't know if you can see, yeah, I think the rusk has done its job. Let's zoom in a little bit. Good. I'll tell you what, I'm well chuffed with that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Very tasty, quite spicy. Have a good week, look after yourselves out there, and I'll catch you on the next recipe.